North London is red. Arsenal take 3 points against Tottenham. We got Man City beating Fulham. Manchester United beats West Ham. Leicester City destroy Sheffield United, and much more in the Premier League. In our weekend recap, we have Serie A, La Liga, Bundesliga, and much more. Jimmy Conrad and Heath Pearce joining, of course. Qué Golazo weekend recap begins right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Qué Golazo weekend recap. And of course, as always, with me is Jimmy Conrad. Jimmy, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Very excited to get after it today. Like always, great energy because there's so many great games to talk about.
You always bring it, brother. All right. And with us, of course, as well, Heath Pearce, a very happy Heath Pearce, I am sure. How are you, HP?
I'm doing great. Plus, Jimmy had some real good music in the waiting room before we started this thing, so I'm vibing right now.
Yeah, he had Gangster, some work from Gangster. I love it. And let's get to work, as Gangster would say. Everybody, let's get into it. Let's begin with the Premier League, and let's talk because Heath is here. We're feeling in a good mood. Let's do it. North London derby. Arsenal win 2-1. Against Tottenham. A really entertaining game, actually, I thought. But Arsenal come out victorious, a key victory for Mikel Arteta and co. Heath, let's begin with you as the Arsenal fan. Let talk to me. How did you like this game?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a really complete performance from Arsenal. I think that's what leaves Arsenal fans something to be desired, right? I think when I went into this match, the thing that I was most excited about is, Gareth Bale in a North London derby. This is really fun. I like it. You know, he's been good lately. Didn't really care so much about the result as much. You know, both these teams, it didn't have the same excitement as it usually does for me because, both of these teams are usually fighting for European spots. Not to say that they aren't at this point, but my ambition going into this was more of like, what's something I can, sink my teeth into. But Arsenal was really good. And they shut down a lot of the strength and attack that Spurs are capable of bringing, especially in North London derby. So overall, a huge win for Arsenal. Oh, yeah. Also, by the way, and I know we'll get into this, but without a Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in the lineup who had broken the rules like a naughty boy, breaking team rules.
Like a naughty boy, he didn't make it. But let's go through the game a little bit. Obviously, Tottenham took the lead thanks to that ridiculous Puskás contender by Eric Lamela with a Rabona, which was also a nutmeg, by the way. But then Arsenal came crawling back with Martin Odegaard equalizing. And, of course, at the very end, they get that winner. Jimmy Conrad.
Hi.
Talk to me about this game. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Happy to be here.
Give me your key. We're going to get back and forth into this game.
Sure.
So, yeah, but talk to me about this game. What'd you make of it?
I thought, to Heath's point, I thought Arsenal were very good. The full 90 minutes, they were very good. Well, let me say, I'll take that back. The last 10 minutes was a bit nervy, but that's to be expected, I think, in some ways when even though Spurs had 10 players at that point, they were going to push reckless abandon. They were just going to go for it and see if they could get something at the end. They nearly did with Harry Kane hitting the post. What I'll say, though, what I really liked about Arsenal were their first half. They were very good at creating numerical advantages. They were forcing Gareth Bale and Heung-min Son before he got hurt in the 19th minutes to defend, to go out and defend. And so they created these numerical advantages, and Tierney did up Matt Doherty. I don't think Matt Doherty, who is a lifelong Arsenal fan, by the way, and he had to delete all of his tweets that said he loved Arsenal before signing.
Aren't we all,
Spurs.
Jimmy? Aren't we all?
Well, deep down, I think we are, Heath. I think we all are harboring some closet love for Arsenal, just given all their success in the past and the glory years. But Doherty was not good for me. But in fairness to him, he didn't have any help. So when you have to deal with Smith Rowe, who's kind of in that pocket next to off of one of your shoulders, and then you got Tierney bombing around the side to overlap, it does get quite difficult. And if you don't have a winger who's out there doing at least the bare minimum, it's going to be a long day at the office for you. And it was a long one for Doherty. But fair play to Arsenal. I thought tactically they were a little bit more astute. I was really disappointed in Spurs, despite the fact that they were up 1-0. They had scored 4 goals in 3 out of their last 4 games, and they come back into this one and sit back. Like, why not just release the hounds, man? Just go try to step on their throats, go get after it. You had some momentum, especially going forward. Gareth Bale in particular, like, let those guys go, let them be free and push up a little bit higher. But Jose Mourinho's tactics almost worked, though. Let's be honest. If Arsenal don't get that goal right before halftime, then Jose Mourinho once again says, listen, I play these negative tactics. He would never call it negative tactics. And I'm still up 1-0. And it just doesn't seem right and counterintuitive in some ways. But so I'm glad Arsenal scored. They were the better team on the day. I thought they deserved to win. And Spurs now have some issues, not only with trying to figure out their identity still. Like, are they the ones that score 4 goals a game, or are they ones that sit back in a game where they should push? Now they have Heung-min Son that's hurt. Gareth Bale, which version of him is going to show up? I don't know. So there's all these different things, but I really pleased for Arsenal. That's only 1 loss for them in their last 8 games in all competitions. Maybe they can find themselves maybe sneaking into a last European spot, but I wouldn't get too, just want to be better than Tottenham at this point, right, Heath?
Yep.
Yeah, no, Arsenal, well done. They're into 10th place, massively into 10th, and on the same points against Aston Villa, who are ahead of them on goal difference, and the fact that they beat them twice. But Heath, Pearce, hey, listen, question for you. Alexander Lacazette, the penalty. Was it a penalty?
I mean, you're asking me?
Yep, I'm asking you. First.
Of course it's a penalty. Of course it's a penalty.
No. Talk to me as a defender, Heath. Is that a penalty if you're a defender?
When Arsenal's playing, or
listen,
I don't know why are you guys putting me on the spot here? There's wants and needs, but yeah, no, I think I agree. As a defender, no. But
I would be so pissed if that got called against me, because it was clear that Lacazette flubbed it. It was going out for a throw-in. I think it wasn't even going out for a goal kick. It was going out for a throw-in. That's how bad he missed it.
But you could see why I asked the question. Because, it's clearly that Lacazette absolutely missed it. And on that miss, his motion made him fall. But Davinson Sanchez did himself no favors by being quite, full with it. But, in the age of VAR, you could look at that. So asking you again, Heath Pearce, as a defender, was it a penalty?
No, absolutely not. But this is the same conversation as you have with goalkeepers, right? So often you'll see a goalkeeper come out, scissor with his legs, and get somebody's body and get away with it, or come out and be big where their legs are open and they're going shin height. You saw Cristiano Ronaldo's penalty today, same thing. He takes a horrible touch, right? But now they're starting to call it more on goalkeepers for, you get that touch, you kick it into the 7th row, but the goalkeeper gets you after because you're drawing it. Those are the kinds of things, and we talk about it a lot. Circumstantially, this is the feel of the game. And I go back to like when Luis Garcia was saying months ago about, hey, it'd be good to have a player in the room to be like, no, he's drawing it there, because it's this idea of like, if I can just get to the ball first and then you tackle me after, it doesn't matter where the ball goes. It doesn't matter how long or bad the touch is, where it's going, how far out it's going, or any of those things. It's just about the fact that you hit me after I touched it first. And well, I do think, again, those types of things are going to continue to happen. And yeah, there is a danger and reckless challenges that do take place there. When you're a defender or you see a goalkeeper do that and you see him hit the player, and then you look around and you see the ball is nowhere to be found because the guy was never even trying to finish it. He was never trying to get a touch. Those are the things that are certainly frustrating. But on a day like today, I tend to be a little more lenient towards
interesting on days like today. Yeah. Jimmy, anything to add on that?
Oh my, of course I do. So listen. The Jordan Pickford, when he crushed Virgil van Dijk to end his season, there was nothing called on that, right? It was just a goal kick afterwards?
No, yeah, it was
nothing. Okay, good. I just want to make sure I understand that, because I think this is where we get frustrated as fans, because that's essentially the same play. Van Dijk gets to the ball first. Pickford absolutely crushes him. No guy's out for the season. Obviously, that's secondary to the play itself. But the lack of consistency with these referees is, I think, what gets us most frustrated. If you're going to call something, then call it the same throughout the whole season, and then everybody kind of knows. But when it's like this, this, and then, now I'm going to call it. It's just, that's where we all get frustrated. From a defensive perspective, that is not a penalty. However, Davinson Sanchez, all he has to do in that situation is just get an arm on Lacazette. Just give him a nudge. Just let him know that you're close enough to if he takes that extra touch, you are then going to tackle him. For him to leave his feet in that, yes, it puts him at risk, as you mentioned, especially with VAR, to have it be called back. They definitely were hard done by with regard to that with Spurs. That said, over the balance of the game, I thought Arsenal deserved the points. Oh, if only because they tried to win the game. Spurs are just sitting back and hoping they win the game. And I hate that. And that's what I don't like about Jose Mourinho's teams and tactics sometimes. You have the talent, just go.
But anyway, that's the thing.
Go ahead.
My thing is that they rested all these players for this game.
Exactly.
And then they came out and sat back. You don't need to rest players if you're just going to sit back. The players are already resting. You know, and I not to disrespect sitting back, because anybody who's played in any sort of defensive system, it is a lot of work.
It is
when you have to be dialed in mentally. Physically, maybe you're not moving as much, but mentally you don't get to shut off when you sit in blocks, and you know it's not like a passive type of defending thing. But yeah, you rest players to come into this game. Come out flying. Take some risks. And the last thing, my final note, by the way, because I know I jumped in and interrupted here. I like Odegaard at Arsenal.
That was my point.
Yeah.
So my point is, when I look at this lineup for Arsenal, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, and Saka is the future. And if you can't lock in Odegaard, you got to find somebody who's like him, because that has really changed their team in so many different ways. That youthful exuberance, that willingness to try things, I think has made Lacazette and Aubameyang both look younger in some ways, because they're around this enthusiasm, this energy that these young guys have, and this they're not afraid of anything, these three. And I think that's really changed the balance of the team. And when you have Thomas Partey and Xhaka really learning how to sit and work together as a partnership in front of that back four, and you got those guys bombing forward, Arsenal are only going to get better in this system. Especially, I thought Gabriel was immense today as a center back.
He was our best player, I think.
Yeah, he was very good. David Luiz, when he plays within himself, obviously very solid as well. So yeah, lots to unpack there. We haven't talked about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. We should, because there's speculation as to why he didn't play in this at all, or didn't start. Apparently he was late. I guess that's what we're speculating.
That's what Andres Cantor said on Telemundo Sports. So I'm wondering that, you know, from his reports so I'm wondering if that's the case indeed, that he was late to a meeting or the last training or something like that.
For me, and I want to get Heath's take on this, I don't think that is the first time that's happened. I don't think you punish somebody of that magnitude within your team if that was the one time that he just happened to be a few minutes late to the bus, or 5 minutes late to the bus, or whatever it is. I just don't see it. I know that as a manager, you want to set a culture, and even your top guys have to play by the rules, right? They can't just make their own rules because of the superstars or the captains. That said, I feel like he's a repeat offender. and I feel like it got to the point where Arteta had to do something, because you can't hold these other guys accountable and not your star player. That's my thoughts on that. That's what I'm reading between the lines here, but I wanted to get Heath's points or opinions.
Yeah, I agree. You know that the moment you're coming out with certain statements or leaving things up for speculation, right? How many times have we heard like, oh, didn't pass the the medical or the physical before a game, and you're like, oh, well, it looks fine. And it's the sign of like, we're keeping this in house. Something is not right. But that's the kind of thing that I think is probably an early test in Arteta's career. I agree. It does sound like there's a repeat offense here. And when you're looking at the guys you just mentioned, Odegaard, Saka, Smith Rowe, you need to set an example for these guys. And they are definitely looking at Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who's got a gold Lamborghini and drives crazy cars. He's got his G-Wagon, his Lamborghini, his Ferrari. Like, your young guys dreaming, right? These guys are all on the verge of, and I'm sure they're all making great money, but on the verge of that serious money. And they haven't made it yet. They're showing flashes. And if you have anybody in the locker room that can sway those opinions, the guy that they look up to, the guy who's on that crazy, crazy money, who was scoring at will last season and isn't this year, you want to be able to nip that in the bud as quickly as possible. And eventually you have to put your foot down. And making an example, I don't know if it motivates it or if it hurts the locker room or whatever, it certainly doesn't seem like the right time to do it before North London Derby, to be like, hey, you showed up to mealtime 10 minutes late or 15 minutes late or whatever it is, right? Like, usually there's a few more layers to that onion. If you're going to, especially around a timing like this time in the season, a player like that's so important. To put your foot down now, it would assume that we've gone the whole season without anybody missing a meeting, like late to a meeting. I mean, this happens weekly in clubs, and there are those people that that sort of tiptoe in after and they're late and things like that. So to me, yeah, it feels like there's something bigger going on. Hopefully not bigger, but something more repetitive going on that he's trying to get control over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Aubameyang or not, Arsenal take 3 points, 2-1. They lie in 10th place, and Tottenham, of course, hold on at the top. But obviously, things will get more complicated as the Europa League second leg comes in of the round of 16. And also, they visit Aston Villa for a key game, really, in the top half of the table. All right, let's continue here in the Premier League, everybody. Let's just quickly talk about Man City, who were very angry about what happened against Manchester United, and they thought they'd just take all their frustrations, Jimmy Conrad, on Fulham. And Pep Guardiola, once again, could care less about your fantasy Premier League team. He absolutely rotated like crazy. It worked. Fulham did show some sparks, but in the end, Man City, whether it's your second team, third team, fourth team, your groundskeeper, they're just going to take care of business, and they went 3-0, Jimmy Conrad.
They did. It was 0-0 at half. So in fairness to Fulham, they kind of held on and figured out how to slow down this machine known as Man City.
As I mentioned at the beginning, Fulham did try hard.
They did. My big issue is if you're going to play a team like Man City, and obviously they're going to have a ton of possession as they did in this one, and you can't give up goals on set pieces. And they gave up a goal on a set piece 2 minutes after halftime to John Stones. If you're going to lose to City, make them beat you because of their quality in any other area of the field. Don't piss the ball away like we saw Fulham do for the second goal. Don't piss the ball away again for the third one, which leads to a penalty, which gives Sergio Aguero his first goal in the Premier League since January 2020. Like, don't do those things, and then you might give yourself a chance against Manchester City.
Well, the second and third goal, I'll give you that. But the first one, that was a good ball in from Joe Cancelo. I mean,
it's a great ball.
You had Areola rooted at the spot. That's a tough. The second and third goal, I'll give it to you. But the first one, that was a pretty good ball.
It's still a set piece. You got John, like for me, and Heath knows this. Set pieces have nothing to do with talent. Nothing. Absolutely zero to do with talent, and everything to do with desire and concentration and focus and an attitude that I'm going to get to this ball before the guy that I'm marking is. And I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to be ready for the next ball when it's ready. When you're getting beat to those spots by Man City players, that's just, you're not going to win games. And so with all due respect to Fulham, you can't give up goals like that. And I remember we played against Germany. We had Heath, did you play in that game? Again, in 2006, before the World Cup, we played against Germany in a friendly at the Westfalenstadion where Borussia Dortmund play. And we was 0-0 at half, and they got booed off the field. Jurgen Klinsmann was coach. Yogi Löw was the assistant. And we came out at halftime going, all right, we might have a chance in this one. These guys are getting booed. Even though we weren't playing well, we still were in it. And they scored 2 minutes after halftime because Chingy, like, ball went between his legs and, like, somehow deflects into our goal. And that was over. We were done. Just like this game. We tried to do too much. We're trying to play our way out of it. We lose 4-1. 0-0 at half, we lose 4-1. So that killed us, though. Because that was a play that we should be able to handle, and it's not because of quality or any world-class ability or anything. So anyway, I'm going off on a rant. Fair play to City for being absolutely money, as they are, and they punish you for half mistakes, and that's why they're going to go on to win the league and probably a whole bunch of other trophies. Yeah,
thank you for that flashback. This weekend recap will be 3 hours long, everybody. I'm sorry. Heath, Pearce, Man City, very quick. Feeling a little bit better after the Man United loss.
Yeah, I mean, they rotated the squad with like 6 or 7 players or whatever. Jimmy, I only lost 1-0 in that Germany game, by the way. Because I came on late and Ballack had a dunk. I remember thinking like, wow, these guys are good. But no, I think City, Fulham had actual chances. The only thing that I'll say is Fulham had real chances and real opportunities, and they didn't really give up much. Like, City didn't have much in the first half, and that was where, you know, the real swing happens once they get one on you. And I do think they were always going to have their chances. And I don't think Fulham really ever had a chance to win this, but they could have
zero shots on goal, Heath, for Fulham, by the way.
Yeah. Shots in total.
But like they were in and around the goal in the first half, a decent amount, you know, like
it was 0-0 at halftime. I mean, that's listen, you go in the dressing room 0-0 at halftime against Man City, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the last thing I'll say is it is a mentality thing where you set your line. If you're not good, you know, you got to sit back deeper when you set your lines. You know, you have to be on the same page. You can't challenge anybody who's it's a mentality thing. You know, it's either you or me. We're going to get to it first. And I've got to find a way to stop you from getting to the spot you're trying to get to because you are trying to score. It's a mentality. And I wasn't very good at that mentality.
I will say this, though, and Jimmy, we talk about this all the time during the week about tactics and formation. Something that I was I liked a lot is that Pep used all his 3 main center backs in this one. He started Ruben Diaz, he started Stones, Laporte, he put Cancelo on one wing, Mendy on the other one, and then this sort of triangle where, you know, Agüero would kind of drop a lot, and then you would have Rodri and Bernardo Silva, and then Ferran Torres and Gabriel. It was like another, let me see what else I got in here. You know, which is, you know, scary once again for everybody else. He probably made it up on the spot, like 2 days in training. Like, what'd you make of it?
Yeah, with regard to the formation, I think we're seeing somewhat of a trend from a 4-3-3, which was very fashionable for excuse me, for a while, to a excuse me, 3-1-4-2, or a kind of a where you have the three center backs like you're talking about, and then you have these wing backs. It's becoming very fashionable to play this way. Cancelo and Mendy were the two guys here. We saw it with Madrid this past weekend because Sergio Ramos came back into the team. So they had Sergio Ramos, Nacho, and Varane. And then they let Vasquez and their other Mendy bomb forward from there. And it's really creating these numerical advantages in certain ways, whether they try to find that numerical advantage centrally or out wide. And obviously, with the way that Pep plays, he tries to identify and sign players that have a high IQ for the game so that they can just be plopped anywhere and know what to do and how to play and where to move and how to press. And so he has this benefit of that to adapt and morph his formation, probably in game, right? So we're probably he would be listening to this podcast going, well, yeah, I started in that formation, but after 20 minutes we moved into something different, as we adjusted to Fulham. So it's nice to have the plethora of options, as you mentioned. And the depth that they have is why they're going to be in the running for up to 4 trophies this season, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Just very quickly here, Heath. Sheffield United, Chris Wilder said, he's gone, no longer the manager of Sheffield United. Everything that he's done for that club should be remembered, especially bringing them to the Premier League in the first place and that great run last season. But manager-less Sheffield United lost 5-0 against Leicester City, who really went out and made a point to make, I guess, against a very down on their luck Sheffield United. What do you think about just Wilder overall and what he's given to that club? And, I just think I think he deserves a quick mention because he's one of those managers that has stuck around with a club and kind of took them to the promised land and now, no longer with them.
Yeah, and during a very, very hard period, right? Wasn't like there was free spending for him to be like, I'm going to go and build myself a sustainable roster that's going to, make magic this season. Clubs are hard hit, and all we talk about is like, poor Barcelona are going to have to sell off their players because of the debt. Imagine the smaller clubs, and having to build a team in a period like this is really hard. So I think huge respect for sure. Obviously, a loss today, like a 5-0, isn't the best swan song for anyone to be remembered by as we remember him. Although it is one of those indicators that's like, oh man, could you not stay another week? Just one more week? Could you not stay, to the half line? I mean, they almost made it to half too, and then it rained goals. And now I look back to last week and I think about the most underrated player that we were talking about and saying Iheanacho should have been.
Yeah, what's really annoying, man? I was ready to clip him for my fantasy. I was like, nah, leaving. I picked Bamford and he gets hurt.
I know. I have Bamford as well. I wanted to say that Sheffield United had never lost more than by a 3-goal margin under Chris Wilder. And then the game after he leaves, they lose by 5. It's not a coincidence. No,
absolutely spot on. It's not. He brought a lot to that team aside from just getting them ready during the week. But it is by mutual consent. And Billy Sharp did say he felt that it was just, he felt that it was coming at some point. So, but we'll see what happens. Surely they are going down and we'll see what happens in the seasons to come. All right. Hey, everybody, we're going to stick around here. I want to keep talking for a second because Manchester United, as we're talking, is leading against West Ham. Scott McTominay with that win. Manchester United on course of a tough run here, Jimmy, because obviously AC Milan, that draw, then the West Ham, and then they got Milan again. Just where is Solskjaer's head at right now, do you think? Because the games are coming thick and fast. What's his priority here? Obviously a top 4, but now that you're going deeper in this Europa League, you have to make sure that you get your players focused for that as well.
Well, of course, securing this big win against West Ham, I predicted a draw in the under 2.5 goals. I thought West Ham was going to bring a little bit more. They didn't even get a shot on goal in the first half, so it was clear what David Moyes' tactics were. Fair play.
Remember, like him being tied for this one, not being available, I think takes away a lot from him.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's a great point. Manchester United, the more I get to watch him play, I love when Bruno Fernandes picks up the ball in between the space. He's just so good, and he's such a great link-up player. And I know we'll get to Thomas Muller and Bayern Munich at some point, but I liken their games together. They're their teams are better when they're on the field, and they're the grease that moves the wheel around. Anyway, with regard to the competitions, this is a big win for them. Another really tight performance, doing what they have to do if they can hold on to this 1-0 lead. This Milan game, though, is very important. I'm sure that they do care about the Europa League quite a bit. They probably feel pretty hard done by that they gave up that late goal to make it 1-1 with Milan. If anybody saw that game, a full 90 minutes, Milan were very good. Frank Kessié in particular, excellent in midfield. And I thought the draw was a fair result. So Milan now have a little bit of an edge now with that away goal. We'll see. If they don't have that, they got FA Cup, right? And they have just the league. They're going to finish in the top 4. I'm not so worried about that. But then what? Then it's the FA Cup. I think the Europa League is still a priority. They have to go and get the job done in Italy this week.
Yeah. Heath, any thoughts on United?
Yeah, look, I think at this point it's about, what can you finish the year with? Where can you finish the year, right? I think top 4 is realistic. I think for sure. I think a second place, whether it's second or third, is there a big difference? I don't know if it's them or if it's Leicester. I think they're going to be the 2 and 3. But finishing second behind another historic run of a Man City, I think is a respectable thing. And like Jimmy said, with Europa League, you've got to go and go for this. You got to have a deep run, and then you can round it out with an FA Cup or something like that, where you I think that's a very successful season. Anytime you say Manchester United, it tends to be a very Celtic Rangers type of mentality where it's like trophy or bust. But when you put it all into context of the last years and the fact that, just 6 months ago, people were wanting Ole out. And there was a lot of sort of just kind of nobody was settling on him as a manager and whatnot. You look at this and you go, okay, this is actually, quite an impressive season overall. So, if they can hold on to this to which I believe that they will, it's still a ways to go to finish the season. But in this game in particular, Rashford and Greenwood both had some major chances early on. And I thought, oh no, it's going to be one of these days where, your players that can be clinical or big saves from Fabianski, who's had a few blinding saves. It's going to hurt them. But West Ham haven't been the West Ham that I've seen in weeks past against this Manchester United team. Yeah,
I mean, it's been tough. No, again, the Lingard thing, I think, is something. And by the way, the Bruno Fernandes thing, like he plays every single game. I just, I don't want any injuries to happen to anybody, but you take away that player for a reasonable amount of time from this United squad, I wonder what that kind of team looks like. Jimmy, I know that you wanted to add something.
No, I just want to say, because Milan is playing Napoli right now. They're down 1-0, and they're not playing well. They're not getting a lot of chances, and I'm keeping an eye on it here while we're talking, just so I can get little pieces of it. But when I think about the Milan game in the first leg, now I know that Milan had a ton of injuries. They're missing Zlatan and Rebic and all these guys. A lot of those guys will still be missing for leg 2. But when you look at United's lineup for that, they didn't start Fred. They went with Matic and McTominay. I think Fred will start the second leg. They had Bailly in instead of Lindelof, and I think that's significant. And then they had Tella starting instead of Luke Shaw. They didn't have their best 11, even though I like those guys. They didn't have their best 11. Daniel James started as well. So I'm curious. I think they're going to roll out all their big guns, get everybody as healthy as possible. Hopefully Pogba's back, and gives them an option. I'm not so sure if he will be, but I suspect that Fred and McTominay will start. And when those two guys start, I think maybe they've lost once, maybe twice all season when those two guys start. Yeah. And I think that quality, no disrespect to Matic, who I think is a tremendous player, he just doesn't cover as much ground as Fred. And I think that's going to make a big difference, especially when we're talking about Frank Kessié, who was so good in leg 1 for Milan. Yeah,
absolutely. Some other results from the weekend before we take a break, by the way, from the Premier League. Newcastle Villa 1-0. One game we both, Jimmy and I, would love to forget. Absolutely terrible game. Leeds United 0, Chelsea 0, by the way. Crystal Palace beating West Brom 1-0. Everton losing to Burnley, who for like 30 minutes, Burnley were like playing like 90s, 70s Brazil. Which is ridiculous. But then again, Everton were allowing them to do so. Brighton beat Southampton 2-1. We've talked about the other games as well. And Wolves-Liverpool is on Monday. So anything to add from those games? Heath, let's begin with you.
Not really, to be honest.
You're just happy Arsenal one. That's
all. Like I luckily got all the ones that I like the most at the front end here. So I'll let you guys speak to Newcastle Villa if that's
No, we don't want to.
Absolutely. I will speak to Leeds Chelsea though. Thomas Tuchel, for him not have lost yet, he's 8 wins and 4 draws and 0 losses in his tenure. how you draw with Leeds and make that game not boring, but kind of boring. Makes me wonder about Thomas Tuchel. Like, he's being very pragmatic, but it's not that much fun. And he's got a team that should be a lot more fun than they are. I will say, though, if you're a Chelsea fan, I like Kai Havertz up top. He had 4 shots. He should have probably buried one of them. He had a good look, waited a little bit too long, but I like him up there. I think that's where he feels most comfortable. And he had a lot of success with Bayer Leverkusen playing in that spot. And then Everton, what are you doing? Losing to Burnley? What the hell is going wrong with you guys? Like, we're all excited that you guys are pretty good. And then you do this. And that's why you're not going to finish in the top 6.
That McNeil goal was a wild.
Unbelievable. Take a bow.
That was ridiculous.
I will say, by the way, the Chelsea game, they haven't won a game by more than 2 goals. They've been like 1-0, 1-1s, 2-1s since Tuchel came in. And when I saw Leeds, I was like, finally, this could be one where they just open up and I don't know, they'll win 4-3 or they'll draw 3-3, but they might like score a bunch of goals and they did not, turns out.
The Thomas Tuchel system is all about adaptability. Just make sure that you're consistent. You adapt yourself to what you're facing, and that's it. You will not get fireworks. We were just surprised that it was a stalemate against Leeds United because in many ways they are contrasting philosophies, Bielsa and Tuchel. So that kind of opens it up a little bit like when Guardiola Man City played Leeds. You thought that maybe it would open up a little bit. I agree completely with Jimmy on Kai Havertz. It's exactly what Lampard didn't do. Havertz is so much better when he's more central and like roaming around the box and being a little freer. Pulisic started in this one, by the way. He started brightly. But Leeds United, I think, held firm. They got a little lucky because there were a few opportunities when they could have scored. But in the end, Chelsea 0, Leeds United 0. By the way, Manchester United did win, so 1-0. So there you have it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the rest of Europe, including La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and much more. Qué Golazo weekend recap. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, we want you to compete with us in a bracket challenge game because March Madness is here. I'll be in there. Jimmy Conrad will be in there. Heath Pearce will be in there. We're going to get everybody in there from Qué Golazo, and we want you as well. Join us at cbssports.com/Golazo brackets, and the winner gets a prize. And who enters just one pool, by the way? That's crazy talk. You can also create a group to compete against friends and fill out your bracket for the chance to win a Nissan Rogue and a trip to the 2022 Final Four. You can play on the CBS Sports app or at cbssports.com/Golazo brackets. March Madness is here, and so is Qué Golazo. Welcome back, everybody. Qué Golazo weekend recap with Jimmy Conrad and Heath Pearce. All right, everybody, let's go to Spain. Let's talk La Liga for a second because I'll give you some scores and you tell me what you want to talk about. Getafe, the annoying Getafe, they're so annoying to play against. They get a point against Atletico Madrid. Real Madrid win 2-1 against Elche thanks to the one and only Karim Benzema. Absolutely unbelievable performance from him. Sevilla and Real Betis is going on right now as we tape. Barcelona, Huesca face each other on Monday. Anything from Spain, Jimmy, that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, let's talk about Atleti dropping points to Getafe. They were up a man, Atleti were, after Getafe got a red card for the last 20 minutes. Atleti... My fear when they dropped points against Levante, a couple weeks ago in back-to-back games, was that they weren't creating a lot of chances. Levante did a very good job of kind of handcuffing them in a lot of different ways. Today, though, it wasn't. They had 15 shots, 72% possession. New signing Moussa Dembele. This is only third appearance since joining from France Lyon. He had 2 sitters. One, the goalkeeper made a great save, in fairness, and he had to kind of adjust to get there. But one was like a diving header. All he had to do was pick a corner; it would have been in, and he put it wide.
I totally forgot about that signing, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I guess you only worry if you're a fan of a club if your team's not creating chances and they're stifled in some ways. Atleti didn't have that today, so ultimately, I'm not too worried about them, but you need to score those timely goals. And we're going to get into it with some other teams here moving forward, most notably Inter Milan and Lautaro Martinez. But I just think that David Soria for Getafe, the goalkeeper, stood on his head, man of the match for sure, made a ton of saves. And that ultimately provided and you're going to run into that at some point, right? You play 34, 36, 38 games throughout a season. You're going to have a couple matches where you run into a goalkeeper who's just like, you don't even know what to do. You can do everything you possibly can. This guy's just going to make the saves. And that's what they ran into today. But they also missed some sitters. So they're going to be disappointed. Their lead is now 6 over Real Madrid. And it's 7 over Barcelona. But Barcelona have a game in hand, as you mentioned. They are playing Huesca tomorrow. I do want to say something about Real Madrid, though. Karim Benzema scored in the 91st minute. This goal is absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, it's so good.
It was 1-1. And obviously, if they drop in any points, they're going to be out of the title race very quickly. So for him to score and to put the team on his shoulders and make the plays that matter, I still feel like whatever you think about him as a person off the field, that's a whole different conversation. On the field, I feel like he's still criminally underrated in some ways.
100%.
He's just scored so many goals, Champions League, La Liga. And these are the moments you're like, God damn it, Karim Benzema is an excellent player. Go find this goal. Go watch it because it's a volley out from outside the box and just side netting. It's unbelievable. I can't sing his praises enough after his performance today.
Our friends are being sports. If you just watch the clip, obviously Ray Hudson is the one that usually goes crazy. Phil Sharon goes insane. The goal is fantastic.
It's unbelievable.
Absolutely correct. Heath, anything from La Liga that you wanted to bring up? Jimmy mentioned Atleti, of course, and then they face Chelsea, of course, in the Champions League this week. Anything from La Liga?
Yeah, it's funny when you think about the lead that Atletico Madrid had at a certain points of the season in terms of points. You think about, oh, they could lose one here and there. But here's the problem with them, right? They don't lose, but they will draw. And if they continue to draw, they're giving up points. And those points, if you think about it now, 5 points, if Barcelona go on to win, it'll be a 5-point gap, right? That is a couple draws away from being in the next, how many games do they have left now, I guess? 11. That is a lot of games to go without drawing in the style that they play, right? If you're not willing to, teams that you know that are going to score a bunch of goals and kind of control things, you're fine. But if you're okay winning 1-0 or 2-1 or mostly 1-0s or 2-0s, like you get yourself into trouble. And I was thinking about today, I was like, man, when I was doing the math before, I always thought about like, I was plus and minusing 3 points all the time with Atletico Madrid, right? And then you stop to think where it's like, that's not where they're going to give up the points. They're going to give them up in draws. Yeah. And if they draw 2 more times, this thing is completely wide open again. And even though they get a lot of chances, and even though they have world-class attack, the style of play is set up to be able to grind teams down and get results. And I don't know if that's a recipe for success. I still think that they will win the league, but it is one of those things where you're starting to wonder, like, if you have enough of these days that don't go your way, where if you hit the bar every single post 3 times and it doesn't land, like, do you have enough magic to be able to create something that gets you 3 points over and over again for the rest of the season? Yeah,
you just gave me an argument, by the way. I've been going Atleti Madrid will win this. You just might have changed my mind because as you were speaking, I was looking at the table, right? Barcelona, as Jimmy said, has that game in hand on Monday. They win that. They're 4 points behind. They still have to play each other. Okay, so let's say Barcelona wins that, right? That's a point. And Barcelona has a better goal difference. So to your point about draws, you will definitely see more draws from this Atleti schedule, 100%. So I don't know. Jimmy, what do you think?
Well, so this is what I want to say, and I want all of the listeners to partake in this conversation as well. So hit us up at Qué Golazo Pod on Twitter, or at Jimmy Conrad or Heath or LM Echegaray. But I want to say that Will, if I was if you're a fan of a team that has a chance to finally win the league and kind of break through this 2-horse race that La Liga is, I don't think I'd want to be distracted with the Champions League. I don't think I'd want any midweek competitions to worry about. I want to have all of my focus and drive and energy and enthusiasm towards this. And I wonder in some ways if Diego Simeone, the manager of Atleti, is thinking in the back of his mind, if we lose to Chelsea, that would suck, but it's okay because now it gives us a better chance to win the league.
Yeah, maybe.
And I don't know. I just don't know. To Heath's point, if they can get past Chelsea, the longer that they're in the Champions League, the harder it's going to be for them to win La Liga. And that's an interesting balance that I think Diego Simeone that's a crazy challenge for them. Especially
in the system and the philosophy in which they play.
They do a lot of work. They do a lot of running.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's keep going here. By the way, Sevilla is leading against Real Betis 1-0 with in the 60th minute. But let's go to the Bundesliga for a second here, because Werder Bremen loses 3-1 to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich do their thing. But Leipzig and Eintracht Frankfurt, a point, 1-0. It's probably not going to be satisfactory for either of them. Borussia Dortmund win 2-0 against Hertha Berlin, and Wolfsburg take advantage of lowly Schalke and destroy them 5-0. And if you're saying, why are you talking about Wolfsburg? Well, my friends, they're in a Champions League spot. So they're still in the running for that, which is amazing. Jimmy, thoughts on Bundesliga?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, Bayern Munich. I can't say enough about their team in particular, but Thomas Muller, if you guys, again, I want you guys to find these highlights, watch them. He always makes the simple pass. He always is looking to bring people into the game. And if he can't get a good opportunity, he knows, and so do his teammates, that he's looking for them. And he's looking to set them up with something easy. The guy's ridiculous. And another guy that I think's, not that he's disrespected or maybe doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think he does, but I feel like we should be celebrating him a little bit more. Fantastic player. So Bayern Munich looking good, of course, heading into the Champions League games as they do. Borussia Dortmund, Yusuf Moukoko, scored 16-year-old first home game. First goal he scored at home for Borussia Dortmund. That kid's got Borussia Dortmund, just a factory for young players. And then with regard to Leipzig, Frankfurt, both of those teams, RB Leipzig's in second, Eintracht Frankfurt's in fourth. That was always going to be a tough one, I think. And I think a draw was a fair result from the portion of the game that I got to see and all the stats that bear out. So yeah, RB Leipzig, obviously not the greatest response to getting knocked out of the Champions League. They didn't lose, but now they're 4 points behind Bayern Munich. We know Bayern Munich was going to go on to win the league, so it's no big shocker there. We were hoping that RB Leipzig would keep it close, but Eintracht, I thought deserved a goal. I thought that was a fair result.
Yeah, I mean, the winner there is Bayern Munich from that draw.
100%.
Heath, thoughts on the Bundesliga?
Yeah, I think, Hoffenheim continue to sputter. I think Bayer Leverkusen continue to sputter. And when you look at Eintracht Frankfurt, they were on a tear all season long. They've sort of fallen off a little bit, even though a draw against RB Leipzig is a huge result for them. But for the form that they've been in, and RB Leipzig, by the way, have to feel a little bit hard done by the fact that they probably, again, they haven't been playing fantastically. They've been playing a very, maybe it is their version of fantastic, but in terms of the Gegenpress, it can be pretty entertaining at times, and it hasn't been for them. They've been really leaving it to individual moments and grinding out as a team, which I think is an amazing system of play. But when you look at the fact that they're now 4 points behind Bayern Munich, they're out of the Champions League against the Liverpool team that, if it was ever going to be a chance for them to continue that journey again, I don't think they were ever going to win it. I don't think Atletico Madrid are ever going to win the Champions League, at least not in this campaign. But those are motivators, right? And they're going to finish safely in second. But this does take a little bit of a divot towards them thinking that they've got this good run of luck right now, so let's just go with it, and maybe we can catch Bayern Munich, which I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah, nobody really is ever.
Before we move on
to anything. Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I just wanted to jump in because I know we're going to get eager to talk about Italy, but Borussia Mönchengladbach, after they announced that their manager, Marco Rose, was leaving to go to Borussia Dortmund next season or over the summer, they have lost 6 straight matches. And
see that? I'm Mönchengladbach if you're watching this on YouTube.
Yes, it's unbelievable to me, but also not that hard to figure out, because when you have a guy that's in charge, how do you really buy into what he's saying anymore?
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane. Why would you? I know, but it's just like, but now we have evidence. We talked about it like, oh man, there's going to be a drop off, and it's weird that he's competing.
Opinion. Right.
Now we have it. We have 6 straight losses. I mean, this team is good. They're a very good team, and they're just making mistakes and losing to teams they shouldn't lose to. And it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs. And I feel like Mönchengladbach got screwed by Marco Rose in this deal, and that they should have waited to make this announcement to everybody. They could have maybe agreed to it behind the scenes and everybody in the front office knew, but to let the players know, yes, I know the players are pros and all that stuff, but when you're a leader of the guys is not buying in, or it's hard. You can't drink the Kool-Aid anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's the most bizarre thing. And it's one thing for you to say I'm going, but to a club from another league, which is like bad in itself or whatever. But the fact that you're going against a competitor in the Bundesliga is absolutely insane to me. It's insane. It's weird. I don't care if that is the German way and, it's fine. We're all dealing with it's just weird to me. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. All right, let's move to Serie A. I'll give you some scores here and then we'll talk about it. Let's see here. Torino loses to Inter Milan. So Inter Milan keep on rolling, 2-1. Ronaldo gets a hat trick, so annoyed about losing to Porto. He decides to, take it out on 17th placed Cagliari. What a hero. So that's 3-1 for Juventus. Roma lose to Parma 2-0, but Brian Reynolds featured in that one, everybody. That's a good little feature for him. And as we speak, Jimmy, what's the latest on the Napoli AC Milan score?
Yeah, 15 minutes left. Napoli's up 1-0. And the only news I would say on a positive front for AC Milan ahead of their match against Manchester United this week is that Ante Rebic came into the team. So he's back from injury, which is important because they need somebody to partner with Rafael Leao up top.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, even if they draw this game, Juventus is still right behind them in third place. So Milan very quickly is losing that lead. You can call it on many things, but it's still, something that Milan, obviously, fans did not want to see. All right, anything else to add from Serie A, everybody? As Inter keep rolling, we're still sticking with Inter for winning this, Heath?
Yeah, I think they're going to win this, and here's why. And here's why I think Juventus are struggling, and we've talked about this. Not struggling. I mean, Ronaldo, by the way, if you haven't seen it, go watch the highlights. He looked like a man on a mission. It was personal. You could tell that he felt the whole world was hearing his changing of the guard. It's over. It's behind him. Can't win the league. Can't win Champions League, and blah, 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 because he was doing things that he hasn't done in a while. The step overs, the hitting. He was literally smashing the ball on his shots in ways that I haven't seen in a while. But with Inter Milan, Nico Barella and Lautaro Martinez are two players that are so important to that team in connecting the lines, the next line to the next line. And when you look at, you guys are going to kill me for this, but Arsenal with Smith Rowe and Odegaard,
okay,
right?
Here we go.
No, listen, hear me out. I'm not doing direct lines connections here, but the ability to have these people that are playing on and off the ball, that are connecting the lines, that are able to pass the ball, move, follow it, and have ideas. That is what I think Juventus have been missing. And when I say Weston McKennie in that position, he doesn't have the ability to do that yet. He is not a natural attacker where these guys' first pass is always forward and it's always clever and it's never the first thing. And they just see things more than just 180 degrees. And I think those connections always keep Inter in games. They're always in games because 1-2 combination plays and they are right on the doorstep. Then you add Lukaku, who can body you up in the box, and you give him a half turn, half chance, and he'll smash it. It just, those are like key members of these new types of system that help to connect these lines in the attack and always keep these teams in games, as opposed to needing Ronaldo. Hey, we need you to have a hat trick today for us to win, and we need you to do it in a world-class way. Otherwise, we don't have a chance.
No, I think it's a good point. I think what helped Inter tremendously, though, was just the fact that they just need to only focus on Serie A. I think if they had, we talked about Atletico Madrid and the headache that is the Champions League. I think the same thing can be said for Antonio Conte and his system because it's so in your face. And when you only have to worry about Serie A, it becomes a little bit of a, I wouldn't say easier, but much more applicable plan that you want to put across because you have like the schedule, you see your opponent, boom, this is what we need to do. Boom, boom, you don't need to worry about traveling outside of the country as much. So that helps. But you make a very good point about the players that Inter has and how they can help each other out. By the way, PSG is tying 1-0 against Nantes right now with less than 25 minutes to go.
And if they win, they go top of the league, I believe.
Right.
And
Monaco,
Lille drew, yeah.
So listen, if they win, everybody, and obviously you listen to this after the result, it's fine. But Nantes is in 19th place. Okay, so just letting you know that. All right, Sheffield United got killed 5-0 by Leicester City. PSG is tying against 19th place Nantes. Okay, so just hitting it out there. All right. Well, hey everybody, that was our weekend recap, and you cannot complain. That was packed, full of amazing information. We took you back to the playing days of Jimmy Conrad and Heath Pearce. It was beautiful. We had some joyous laughs, everything. But before we go, let's ask for final thoughts. Jimmy Conrad, anything as we go to the week ahead, I guess.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Lautaro Martinez. He scored in the 85th minute for Inter Milan. And what I wanted to bring to everybody's attention was I watched body language by the whole team after a goal is scored. Sometimes you see a goal scored, Luis and Heath, and a couple guys celebrate with a goal score. He scores. They need these wins. You need players to score big goals in big moments to win anything of consequence. He scored it with 5 minutes left, a tremendous header. And I always wonder about his relationship with Romelu Lukaku. Like, do they really like each other? Because sometimes they're yelling at each other all the time, but maybe that's a sign of love. I don't know. And Lukaku was the happiest guy. I mean, he was so fired up. I'd never seen Lukaku so fired up. And it wasn't for him.
Like was going to break him.
Dude, it was unbelievable. And when I see that type of energy from Inter Milan, I know they're going to go on to win the league. And to Heath's point, Juve are too reliant on Cristiano Ronaldo to do it. And with Inter, they have other options, right? If Lukaku's not on, Lautaro's on. If Lautaro's not on, Lukaku's on, or somebody else is going to step up. Barella, Perisic, somebody. And that's why I think Inter's going to do it. I just love their team spirit right now. And fair play to Antonio Conte. I think he's going to get that Scudetto.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Heath, any final thoughts from anything that you want to talk about right now? The mic is yours.
Yeah, I would say go watch that Martinez goal. It was an off-balance, fully extended header that he connected so well that it was just pure out of will to be able to put that on frame at that point in the game. And it's really worth watching to just show like kind of what taking over a game is in a big moment is to bring 3 points to your team. And also my other closing thought is that if Luis hears one more "you should have been there" story from us, Jimmy, he's going to smash his computer. So
he's just jealous. He's just jealous. I have doesn't hurt me at all.
Hey, did I say anything? Why am I getting? It's
Luis texted me in our other group chat that Jimmy's not invited to and was like, "Hey, leave that stuff out of here."
That's like, usually you're the one that shares the stories. I'm the one listening. I came in with my own because I thought it was like for like.
Hey, listen, page 7 in the CBS Sports contract. Whatever happens when Jimmy and he talk about let them roll. Hey, speaking of which, by the way, the international window's coming up, and US MNT will have 2 friendlies, so we're gonna have a lot. And what better time to do it than with these 2 fellas, as Heath just my final thought, Super Classico right now going on. If you didn't watch it on tape. Right now it's 0-0, but obviously a good game to watch. And by the way, we talk about Europe so much. A reminder to everybody that the most popular games in the United States of America are Liga MX matches. And there's a huge game tonight, El Clásico Nacional, as Chivas face Club America. Jimmy, I know that you love some Liga MX. It's just a tremendous league. I wonder, hey, final question to you both. Will there be that union, do you think, the MLS Liga MX union?
I would love it personally. I think that MLS has more to gain than maybe Liga MX with that partnership. Obviously, there's logistical issues with terms of travel and when you play these games, and I get all that. But if we could leave logistics and any politics out of it, like from a straight sporting perspective, I think it would be tremendous. And I think what you do is you invite an environment of Club America actually coming up to play Galaxy or LAFC with something on the line. Usually when we play Liga MX teams, it's a friendly. They're always friendlies. And yes, those are still chippy, but there's never really anything on the line. And that's why the CONCACAF Champions League games are as exciting as they are, because they don't want to lose to an MLS team, and we want to show that we're better than they think we are. So to do that on a regular basis, I think would really level up the whole experience, especially from an MLS perspective. Liga MX, I don't know. I think it's not they don't have more to gain, but I don't know if they have as much to gain as MLS does. Yeah,
let's not forget the transactional business that can happen even more frequently between both. I think that would be great. Heath, any thoughts from that?
Yeah, I actually think that there's an equitable split there because the professionalization and commercialization of the sport in the U.S. is far different than Mexico, right? If you look around the world, everybody wants to get to the U.S. because, and this, take it or leave it if you're a purist, whatever, I'm sorry, but like the stability of the league in the U.S. is far more stable than most other leagues right now because it's single entity. It's got its own criticisms as well that I'll jump on your side for most of those as well. However, everybody is hitting their cap in their domestic country. So everybody is saying, let's put an office in the U.S. Let's reach those fans. We've got this growing sport here. And so for Mexico to the U.S., the commercialization opportunity, the professionalization of these things, the sky is the limit, and they haven't tapped that. In Mexico, they are at the ceiling of what those big clubs can make. They've had to change the pro-rel rule so that the teams don't get relegated for the next years. They've created all these systems because there isn't that financial stability. And then when you add the competition, MLS has a lot to gain, the most to gain against playing against that consistent talent in that region. Is also the culture of the sport there. I think there's a lot of ways where this can be a handshake where everyone benefits, and I would love to see it because it's only going to push. Like Jimmy said, we're all fans of certain teams in Major League Soccer or in Mexico, but when you get to those CONCACAF finals or semifinals, if you're a fan of Major League Soccer That's the one time that you're like, we need an MLS team to win this. We need an MLS team to win this, because it validates us, and it hasn't yet. And so I think there is an importance to that. And then obviously the Mexican teams are saying, we own this competition because MLS is not good enough. So yeah, I think it'd be fantastic to see. And I do think it will happen in some shape or form in the near future.
I love it. Great points from both of you. Great episode. Jimmy Conrad, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure.
Heath, thank you, my man.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank Jimmy Conrad and Heath Pearce for joining me today. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Qué Golazo Pod. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/Qué Golazo, where you can watch all the episodes. We are also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. You can get your small speakers to listen to us. You can do anything you want. CBSSports.com, of course. I hope you have a great evening and enjoy your week. Have a great one.